Hello everybody, it's Krish Kandaya here. I'm at Dorchester Cathedral because in this ancient building there's a new installation commemorating originally the imprisonment of Alex Navalny, a man who stood up for truth and justice against the powerful and evil Putin regime. But sadly now this place has become a shrine because Alex has been killed, we believe murdered by the Russian state, by the FSB. What are we going in? So I'm standing in a recreation of Alex Navalny's cell in Dorchester Abbey. And it's tiny. There's hardly any room to move around. There's just a bench here and a slop bucket. And I can't imagine what it would have been like for Alex Navalny to think about spending 19 years in a cell like this. Of course, he didn't get to spend that amount of time there because he was murdered. At least that's what most people in the Western world think happened to him. The Russian government says that he died of natural causes, but very few people believe that. His body still hasn't been released to even his mother. And just being here further inspires me for Alex's faith and vision and sense of justice. I've come outside of the Abbey to just think about what it must have been like for Alex to live for so long in that prison cell, and imagining he'd have to spend the next 18 years of his life there. And yet, he chose that path. He knew when he returned to Russia that he would likely be imprisoned, and he returned after someone, apparently the FSB, tried to take his life through Novichok poisoning on a plane. In fact, his life was only saved because a brave pilot decided to make an unscheduled landing in Tomsk, and Alex was able to recover. But the world has been moved by Alex's story, by his bravery, by his courage, and we know because he said even in his own defence, in his closing statements, he was a lawyer himself, but in his closing statements in his trial, he spoke about his Christian faith, how he used to be a militant atheist, that's his words, and yet he found in faith, in his Christian faith, a way to make sense of life. In fact, he quoted the Sermon on the Mount when Jesus said, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they will be filled." I wrote a little piece this week about Alex's faith, and that piece managed to get to Russia, and some dissidents wrote to me to say, look, you need to know that Alex's faith was real. He really did love God. It was inspired by his Christian faith that he did many of the courageous things that he did. And we're asking for prayer in honour of his bravery, but not just for the people of Russia and Ukraine, but also for Israel and Gaza. And I found that really moving, that even though they're living under such trying circumstances, these Christian believers want peace, real peace, not just their party winning or their side getting what's needed, but peace everywhere. And for me, that spoke of a genuine Christian faith. Too many people are using their Christian faith as either a personal crutch to kind of help their own lives get better, or as a political tool to try and win an election and have their side gain power. But I noticed from these Christian believers in Russia, living under an unjust regime, standing against Putin, they are calling for peace everywhere. They're standing in solidarity with oppressed people everywhere. And for me, that's classic Christianity. That's Jesus-centered Christianity. That's a Christianity that says we follow the Prince of Peace, who doesn't belong to any nation, but calls all nations to love and mercy and repentance. And so I promised them that I would pray tomorrow for peace. Peace in Russia, peace in Ukraine, peace in Gaza, peace in Israel, peace everywhere in the world. And so I'd ask you to join us as a sign of respect and honour, not just for Alex Navalny, but for those all around the world who stand for peace and justice. I want their lives to challenge us, their deaths to speak courage into our bones, that we might be men and women that walk in the footsteps of Jesus. In fact, the Sermon on the Mount tells us that blessed are the peacemakers, for they'll be known as the children of God. Seeking peace is the family likeness. It's what we're called to do and be. And so I wonder if you would join me praying tomorrow for peace. Thank you.